Well, this is a short video on the locks, the Ballard locks. It's kind of an unusual place because it's an exchange between saltwater and freshwater, and there's not an awful lot of places like that where large vessels can do that, is go back and forth between salt and fresh. This is a board where you might be able to see it. It's why are the locks needed? And I'll just read it really quickly. The locks control the elevation of the lakes between the Hiram and Chittenden locks. This allows vessels to move back and forth from one water elevation to another. Notice how the water level of Puget Sound is lower than Salmon Bay. So Salmon Bay is where you go to when you get into the fresh, and it leads to the lakes like Lake Union and Lake Washington. Fresh water of Salmon Bay meets the salt water of Puget Sound at the locks. Depending on tides, there may be a 6 to 26 foot difference between the fresh and the salt water. We raise and lower water levels in the locks as needed to allow vessels to lock through. So lock is not just a noun, it's also a verb. To lock means for the vessel to flow through the locks. How do the locks work? Using chambers, gates, tunnels, and valves, the lock master in control opens and closes the large lock. Opening the miter gates allows vessels to enter the lock. The gates close after the vessel enters, creating a chamber. The lockmaster then opens and closes vessels, allowing water to flow in and out of the lock through tunnels. So number one, this picture here is where the vessels enter the lock. And then number two, the gates close behind the vessels. Through gravity, the lock drains the water. And then three, right here, when the water pressure is the same on both sides of the gate, the downstream gates open and the vessels exit. And then here on the fourth slide, the process is reversed for an upstream lockage from Puget Sound, that would be the saltwater, into Salmon Bay, the freshwater. Think of the locks, that's down here, as a boat elevator. Water moves by gravity from higher to lower level. No pumps are used, no electricity, no energy, no environmental issues really, except for the fact that it's kind of blocking salmon streams. That's what the fish ladders are for. The average lockage takes about 7.5 million gallons of fresh water to fill the large lock. And then when dedicated on July 4th, 1917, we're coming up on the centennial anniversary in about 3 years, the Hiram M. Chittenden locks was the largest navigation facility in North America. During the dedication, the USS Roosevelt, the flagship of Commodore Robert Peary's famous 1909 expedition to the North Pole, led a parade of boats through the locks. Follow the small bronze salmon medallions across the locks and the dam to the fish ladder. And if you look at this picture, you'll see that we're over here, down here, where the parking is, right here, and then you cross the spillway over to the fish ladder, and that's where you can see, sort of like a aquarium, Monterey Bay Aquarium, aquariums in SeaWorlds, where you can watch the fish and see them moving through the fish ladder. And there's a picture of fish jumping, and you'll see harbor seals munching away on salmon as they come up the Salmon Bay to get from the Puget Sound to get to Salmon Bay and into the lakes and onward to what feeds the freshwater lakes of Seattle. So that's Chittenden locks in Ballard, Washington for you.